Welcome back, everybody, to another episode. On today's episode, we're going to be going over quarterbacks. Now, my rankings are way different from everybody else's. It's not even close. Now, this is the way I look at quarterbacks. I don't rank them by who's the best quarterback, or like everybody has Patrick Mahomes number one. Me personally, I don't. I don't like doing that. I look at the strength of the schedule. That to me is very huge in any fantasy football. My rankings are the strength of schedule, and it has helped me. I mean, I have gone to every single playoffs except one. I missed it by like 1 or 2 points, and I didn't make it. But other than that, I have made every single playoffs. This is the way I do it. This is the way I like to keep track when I'm drafting, to see where quarterbacks are being taken. And if they're even in my top 10, if they're way all the way down, I could wait a bit longer if they're ranked higher on my sheet. Am I making any sense here? Let's hope I am. So let's go with number one. My number one quarterback who I think will do the best out of everybody else in the NFL is Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan finished second in fantasy points last year. Not only that, but this year he has the 10th easiest schedule of the NFL. And he still has it, man. He still has all the weapons there. Julio Jones is still there. They're going to throw the ball, man. That's what the Atlanta Falcons do. They throw the ball. Nothing has changed. Number two is my boy Cam Newton. He has never let me down. Is his running ability and the fact that he still has an arm. I'm not really concerned about his injury. He had this whole offseason to heal from it. It was not a big deal. He also has the third easiest schedule for a quarterback this NFL season. That is why I have him number two. Number three, Deshaun Watson. I like quarterbacks for fantasy-wise that like to run the ball, and Cam Newton and Deshaun Watson are one of three quarterbacks that actually run the ball quite well. The other one being Russell Wilson. But yeah, man, I like Deshaun Watson. I expect great things from him. He has a semi-decent schedule, not that bad. And the guy that I was just speaking about is my number 4 quarterback, Russell Wilson. Yes, the offensive line is not good, but he still manages to throw the ball and still manages to score some touchdowns every single year, even with the terrible offensive line. For example, last year he finished with 35 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He rushes the ball not as well as Watson or Cam Newton, but he still ran for 376 yards. But that's my number 4 quarterback. Now that they have a red zone target like DK Metcalf or whatever, he's going to be inconsistent at times, but I expect Russell Wilson to be top 5 quarterback next year. At number 5, we have Drew Brees. What is there to say, man? There's still a lot left in the tank. The dude almost threw for 4,000 yards, 32 touchdowns. He did slow down towards the end of the season. His arm did look a little bit tired, but you got to find a quarterback that will easily score mid-30 touchdowns, and that's what you look at for quarterbacks when you're playing fantasy. Look at touchdowns and yardage. At number 6, Patrick Mahomes. I have him ranked so low. I don't know, dude. Like 50 touchdowns last year is ridiculous. And for him to do that again, I highly doubt it. He does have the hardest schedule for a quarterback for fantasy football, which kind of scares me. I don't see him throwing 50 touchdowns a game. No way. Absolutely no way, dude. I absolutely do not see him throw 50 touchdowns. Maybe 30, 35 most. But he's still a talented quarterback, which is why I still have him in my top 10. And yes, I would pick Matt Ryan, Cam Newton, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Drew Brees before Patrick Mahomes. That's just me personally, fantasy-wise. Coming in at number 7, Jared Goff finished top 7 in fantasy points last year. I expect him to do the same thing. He does have the 8th easiest schedule for fantasy football for a quarterback. The offense is still there, great coach. Nothing has changed, put it that way. I expect him to be top 10. There's absolutely nothing negative to say. At number 8, will come to a surprise to you, is my boy Mitch Trubisky. Yes, Mitch Trubisky. He has the 11th easiest schedule for a quarterback fantasy-wise. Decent offensive line. Last year, he placed top 15 in fantasy points. He threw 24 touchdowns. I expect him to throw a lot more. He ran the ball a lot too. I honestly expect him to have 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, 10 picks, 500 yards rushing, and 2 touchdowns rushing. Something like that. Go Bears. At number 9, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins finished. I'm surprised, honestly. Looking back at these stats, I did not think Kirk Cousins did as good as he did paper-wise. On paper, he threw for 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, 10 picks, 1 rushing touchdown. Did great. On paper, he did great. And that's what you're looking for fantasy. And this year is the same thing. He was ranked 12th. And this year, he has around the same schedule, the same strength of schedule. And number 10, Tom Brady. Tom Brady, I have him ranked number 10 because the dude is not human. I'm here to tell you that. He's absolutely not human. He has 18th easiest schedule. Not bad, like in the middle. He has a ton of weapons now. A ton. I don't even want to name them all. You could look at them in my previous video. The link will be tagged at the end of the video, but go check it out. He has a bunch of new weapons. Great offensive line. Nothing has changed there. Tom Brady is still Tom Brady. He finished 14th with 4,000 yards, 29 touchdowns, and 2 rushing touchdowns. The dude is not slowing down. I know they just signed him for another 2 years or something like that. But that's my top 10 quarterbacks for fantasy football. This is my thought process. When you're drafting and you have these quarterbacks on your list, and if they're going early, you can just cross them out and see who the highest one is, and you take them. You pick them, and that's what I've been doing. This is smart. I'm gonna actually save this, and hopefully none of my friends that are watching will take my people because I'm gonna be pissed. But that's it, man. Tune in tomorrow for running backs. I'll be talking about my top 10 running backs this coming season and who to avoid for running backs. Oh, might as well talk about who to avoid this year for quarterbacks, shall we? 3 quarterbacks that you should avoid this year: Andy Dalton, no surprise; Matthew Stafford, and Eli Manning. I believe they're done. Andy Dalton because AJ Green was a big part of the offense, and he's out, man. Other than that, I don't see nothing. Matthew Stafford, he did decent last year, but it wasn't like surprising numbers, and I don't see them improving. I didn't see anything this offseason that they acquired that will shock me, like, oh my God, they actually got him. And Eli Manning, man, I don't see him going through the whole year. I think Daniel Jones will come towards the end of the year and finish his role, and Eli Manning will most likely retire or get traded to, I don't know, my guess to Buffalo. I don't know. I'm just throwing names out there. But yeah, those are my 3 quarterbacks who you should avoid. I would not be touching them. And that's it, man. Hopefully you guys enjoy, and see you guys tomorrow for my running backs. Peace.